What up, though, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Les Nation, y'all. I guess y'all said it's obvious that I'm a Michael Jackson, Jackson Legacy. I grew up on Michael Jackson, y'all. So yes, I'm gonna do a lot of Michael Jackson video, y'all. I guess with the movie, it really inspired me to talk about some historic things, y'all. Today, y'all, I'm not going to focus on the negativity of Papa Joe, y'all. I am not going to focus on some of his stuff. We all know Joe was not a perfect person. We all know he was not a perfect father, perfect husband. But guess what, y'all? He was no deadbeat father either. He wasn't one of the fathers that walked away from his responsibility. He never left. Yes, he cheated on Catherine many dozens of times, y'all. But two things he never did to Catherine. He never beat her and he never left her. You know, he wasn't one of them fathers that as soon as he got some dough, he put a white woman on his elbow. We're not going to focus on his negativity. We're going to focus on the good and accomplishments. We all know that we're just going to make it real quick. Joseph was born somewhere down south, I guess. Met Catherine, moved to Indiana, got married, got 9 kids, and lived in a small town on Gary, Indiana, a little small box house. 9 kids, 2 jobs. I mean, that alone, we always talk about where the fathers was. Where Joe was there. He was no deadbeat. He took Catherine, he had to work. Yeah, he worked 2 jobs, y'all. 2 jobs and took care of 9 kids. The thing was he saw talentless kids. He pushed them. He pushed those kids to greatness, you know. Not one time, not as long as he was their manager. Michael didn't bleach. Michael's skin was not bleached. He kept Michael. To me, the thing was he actually saw their potential. He got them to audition at Motown. They got signed. And yes, we could say that Joe should have been a better businessman because in the beginning, the Jackson 5 had a very horrible record deal by Barry Gordy. 2 cents per record, y'all. So think about it. ABC sold 2 million records. And they got 2 million per copies. That's only $40,000, y'all. $40,000, but after taxes, after Joseph Fee, after studio, all like that, they probably only got $1,000 each. But luckily, Joseph negotiated a concert fee, merchandising fee, so they something good came out of it. But Joe eventually got tired of the boys getting underpaid, so they went to CBS Records or Epic, Sony, and instead of making 2 cents a record, they wind up getting 30% royalty. Think about it. If it wasn't up to Joseph, Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, well, Michael would he'd be he'd be doing old Motown reviews. He'll been a Where Are They Now. He'll probably be in like Frankie Lyman, well, not Frankie Lyman, but he'll still been doing oldies but good. He's still singing ABC, I Want You Back. But he got tired of Barry Gordy taking their money. And yes, when they went to CBS Record, they made way more money. And if it wasn't for Joseph, there would never be an Off the Wall, a Thriller, a Bad. If it wasn't for Joseph. So Joseph is a responsible person. Wasn't a perfect man. Yeah, he did some things like for real Joe, but he did some great things, y'all. And like I said, if they said how the movie portrayed him as just 24/7 villain, if Joseph was just that bad of a person, Michael still took care of Joe, y'all. He still took care of Catherine. Even after he fired Joe, he still gave him money. He bought him a boat, a yacht. See, they don't tell you about that part. And here's another thing. When Michael was in trouble for his allegations, who was there? I didn't see Barry Gordon. He wasn't there. I didn't see John Brunken, Mr. White Savior himself. I didn't see Quincy Jones. None of them was there. But guess who was there? Joseph Jackson holding his hand. So it's obviously, Michael and Joe didn't always see eye to eye, but Joe was still there. Michael still loved his father. Even though he didn't always agree with his father, he still loved his daddy. And like I said, we always talk about where are the black fathers. But Joseph was there. He was more than there. So, yes, he's the reason why all 9 of them kids got $1 million bank account. You heard not none of them, now one of them on cocaine, crack. None of them living in the hood. They all living in nice houses, man. You can't say the same thing about the Barge father. You can't say the same thing about the Beach Boys father. You can't say the thing about the Osmond father, because let me say this about how is it that you got in the Osmond, there's 9 children too. You got 8 brothers and 1 sister. But here's the thing, Marie Osmond, she got molested, y'all, by some producer. But my thing is, you got 8 brothers. 8 brothers. And none of them came in to your defense. But if anybody, but one thing you say about the Jackson brothers, even Jermaine, yeah, he was a player hater, but he protected his sisters. He protected LaToya. Outside Jack Gordon, they protected their sisters. Joe protected his daughters. The thing is, Janet Jackson's probably the few people that didn't have to sleep with no producer to blow up, So if anything, no, Joseph wasn't perfect, but he was a father indeed, y'all. And if you like my channel, y'all know what to do. Peace.